no one can agree on what to do next. And the council cannot come to any security resolutions?
Everyone's still reeling. Between Jesus, Tara, and the others we lost.
And still nothing from Maggie.
The council sent another letter, but we haven't had anything back.
Hey guys, Kiwi here. In this video, I'll be breaking down discussing the leadership of the Hilltop community going into Season 10 of The Walking Dead. With that being said, major warning of spoilers for everything in the show up to the Season 9 finale, and let's jump right into this. So, it's starting to become almost a meme at this point in regards to the leadership role at the Hilltop being almost a curse. First off, there's Gregory, although he had it coming, and then there's Jesus, Tara, and I guess Enid. The leadership roles feel like a revolving door, with each option kinda getting worse and worse, and I mean, I don't dislike them, but come on, we just want Maggie to lead the Hilltop, right? I liked the arc with Jesus and Tara where Jesus didn't accept leadership even though he needed to be the leader because the simple fact was that the Hilltop needed him. Same with Tara, she worked great as his right-hand man, until they both died. And even after Jesus died with Tara as a makeshift leader, she wasn't even the one to go confront Alpha. It was Daryl. See, it was Maggie in the comics, and so the person taking her place is symbolic of leadership. There's been so many instances where Daryl would feel like a suitable leader for the Hilltop after everything that's happened with Alpha, along with Lydia and Henry in the jail cells as well. Daryl completely took over that role from the comics, but then again, he also took over the part where Alpha showed Rick the Mega Herd in the comics, which we saw brought to life near the end of episode 915. Although it seems like Daryl could have set up shop at the Hilltop, we saw him return to Alexandria at the end of Season 9, along with Carol and the rest of the Alexandrians. So although there's been tons of speculation over Daryl's potential leadership at the Hilltop, it was only temporary considering the circumstances. Daryl never was a true leader, he's more of a lone wolf. He's not really looking to take over Maggie or Rick's roles. He could live at the Hilltop, but Alexandria is his home, and Michonne has been trying to get him to return to living there all season. Also, I forgot to mention this in my Carol breaking up with Ezekiel video, but I'd also just like to point out how I think it's funny that Ezekiel actually offered Daryl a spot to stay at the Kingdom and make it his home earlier this season, considering what Ezekiel said to Daryl in the Season 9 finale, along with the fact that the Kingdom ends up falling. And with all of the Kingdom migrated to the Hilltop over the winter, what does that mean for Season 10? Jerry jokes about calling it the Kingtop, which is a funny throwaway line, but what if they actually stay combined for Season 10?
It's like our new kingdom, only it's Hilltop. Hey, if we call it Kingtop, maybe we can make that a thing.
It's still up in the air if the Kingdom has been closed down for good, meaning that they can't film there anymore, and that they just got rid of the location entirely. Was this them saying goodbye to the Kingdom once and for all, or will we see the return of it in Season 10? Because if we do, then everyone from the Kingdom should just move back in. But if we don't, this means that the Kingdom could stay at the Hilltop for good. Since the characters from both the Kingdom and the Hilltop has trickled out over the past few seasons, it makes sense to bring them together and combine the communities. But it's strange, The Walking Dead has always had the issue of too many characters alive at once because you have all of the comic book characters constantly getting introduced, along with TV show original characters like Tara and Daryl and so on. But now with main characters branching off into their own TV shows or movies like Rick, Maggie, Dwight, and Morgan, along with them killing off tons of main characters like Carl, Enid, Jesus, and Tara, along with everyone else that we lost during All Out War, and then there's even rumors of Michonne and Ezekiel leaving the show in Season 10, it really does feel like the roster for the Walking Dead characters has thinned out more than we've even realized, to the point that they're even suggesting to eventually merge the characters from Fear the Walking Dead back into the original show. Now let's not get too ahead of ourselves, but it's kinda crazy when you think about it. Who do we even know from the Hilltop anymore? Besides minor characters like Cal or Eduardo, I literally can't think of any other main character from the Hilltop. They've all been either killed or written off of the show. And honestly, even if it is minor characters like this, I think that the Hilltop should be run by the background Hilltop members that we've seen there since it was introduced in Season 6. I think it would be strange for the Kingdom to take over the Hilltop, as they technically feel like guests there, and the same goes for Magnus Group, who's still getting used to fitting in with the community in general. Also, Magnus Group actually lived at Alexandria in the comics, as there was never any issue with someone like Michonne not wanting to let new people in. That being said, I guess that one of the many reasons why Michonne was given this inclusive arc after the time skip was so that Magnus Group would go live at the Hilltop, where they knew that there wasn't going to be many characters left there after the deaths of Jesus and Tara by the end of the season, along with Maggie's departure. But yeah, I feel like it's weird having the Hilltop run by either the leader of a different community like Ezekiel, or the leader of a foreign group that we were just recently introduced to, Magna and friends. So, what is the solution here? Obviously, if Maggie was to just return in Season 10, she'd just walk right in and solve all of our problems in one swift action of her sitting her ass back down at home, but I'm not sure if that'll ever happen. Check out my recent Maggie Returns in Season 10 video for a more in-depth breakdown of that, but for now, I'll just say that it's something that could always happen, but we shouldn't really expect it, as we don't know exactly when it'll ever happen, so we should just plan around it. With that being said, it seems as though they're already one step ahead of us, as we actually overheard Yumiko telling Michonne that the Hilltop now has a council of sorts, similar to Alexandria. This was in the Season 9 finale, and it was when they were walking on the road during the daytime, and I'm surprised that I didn't think of this sooner, but with the Hilltop now as a council, it's probably because they couldn't decide leadership for any one given person. You gotta remember, Gregory easily became the leader to the Hilltop all those years ago, because no one else originally from the Hilltop wanted to lead, and so that's why when Maggie walked through those gates and started calling the shots in Season 7, the entire Hilltop community started rallying behind her as she was a natural leader. That could happen again, especially if people like Magna start stepping up in Season 10, but we haven't followed Magna for the entire show like we followed Maggie since Season 2, so it would feel kinda weird, and for now it seems okay just being an equal council. I'm kinda surprised that Magna's group even has a seat in it, but I guess it makes sense after everything they've recently been through. Magna's group was lucky enough to not lose any characters to the Whispers or their Pike border, but they've still been there helping fight the Whispers in one way or another all season ever since Jesus was killed. We had them help everyone get out of the cemetery, and Luke has had tons of wholesome screen time. We had Connie go off and help Daryl with Beta after she helped save that baby, and we also saw Yumiko go off with Daryl, Carol, and Michonne to confront Alpha, gain the knowledge of the Mega Herd, along with discovering the horrific Pike border on the way back. Magna's group has been way more predominant than they were in the comics, and I love it. They naturally sprinkle in bits and pieces of Magna's group to where they're more helpful than a hindrance, and I'd like to keep it that way. So, let me know what you guys think about the Hilltop having a council just like Alexandria, along with who you think should be on it. Again, we'll have to wait and see if the kingdom has permanently moved there for the foreseeable future, as I assume that they'll have at least one seat in the council as well. I enjoyed the idea of all the characters coming closer together, as it'll feel like we're seeing more get done faster without having to constantly jump between so many different locations, as now they've pretty much cut out both the Sanctuary and the Kingdom, leaving just the Hilltop and Alexandria, and I guess, you know, Oceanside as well, but they're not really important enough to get shown. This is kind of bizarre to me, all just for the simple fact that all four communities are still well and good in the comics. As a matter of fact, they're thriving. The Kingdom, Alexandria, the Hilltop, and the Sanctuary. It just feels like they've taken away half of the show, as they've been introducing the idea of a larger world ever since Season 6, introducing the Hilltop along with the Sanctuary, the Kingdom, and Oceanside in Season 7. And then after the negative reception that the Junkyard group got in Season 8 during the first half, then during the second half they completely threw them away and they just set up Jadis to bring back Rick in the movies, and ever since then it truly feels like they've been backpedaling, throwing away more than half of the communities that were just established the past few seasons. Leave your thoughts and opinions about them cutting out over half of the communities down below, as I'd love to know your opinions on the matter, and if there's enough discussion to still be had, I may create a follow-up continuation video discussing this in the near future, as just the thought of it all really interests me. Will they bring back more communities in the future? Will the Kingdom people go back to the actual Kingdom and, you know, overtake that and rebuild it and bring it back to its former glory? Or did they really just backpedal the entire way to Season 6, only having Alexandria Andrea and the Hilltop from now on. I'd appreciate a like on the video if you've enjoyed anything I've said today, or even subscribe for more Walking Dead content in the near future. Check out my Patreon and follow me on Twitter as well, as I'm always posting everything I can involving the Walking Dead universe, such as recently there's been a bunch of articles coming out talking about the Season 9 finale and talking about Season 10, along with article interviews with people such as Angela King and even Norman Reedus. Links to that in the description, but anyways guys, as always, I thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out!